Hello kittens, Silver here, and today I'm going to be sharing my complete collection of Douglas Cuddle Toys Australian Shepherds, which is at the suggestion of one of my viewers, so thank you so much for requesting this video. And we're going to be starting things off with Sinclair the Australian Shepherd, who's finally getting his on-screen debut. I know for certain that there is an unboxing video of him lurking on my phone somewhere, and it just failed to materialize for whatever reason on this channel. Hopefully I will be able to find that. If I do, these will be completely out of sequence, but please just disregard my folly. So anyway, this is Sinclair, as I mentioned. This is, I believe, an earlier version of Sinclair, and I think the most distinctive way of telling whether he was earlier in the run or later is probably the size of the nose and the type of vinyl that's used. So this one has a very kind of smooth, non-textured vinyl, whereas the more recent Sinclairs seem to have larger noses and the textured noses as well. So actually, I should probably take a look and see what his manufacture date was, but I know he's been in production for quite a long time. There does not seem to be a date on this guy. But every Sinclair is adorable and in his or her own right. This one I thought just had the sweetest face that you could possibly ever hope for in a Sinclair Australian Shepherd. Maybe one of these days I'll pick up one of the newer, more recent versions of him, but we're running a little tight on space, so I'm very, very happy with this guy. So he's one of the 16-inch floppy laying style dogs. I have a whole lot of those. I'm sure you've seen plenty of them on this channel before, and maybe seen some in real life too. They're still very, very popular in the Douglas lineup, and I absolutely love this sort of like tufty hair he has right at the top. He's kind of got like a little bit of a mohawk. He's totally punk rock, and he's got those nice amber brown eyes, though it would be interesting to see an Australian Shepherd with blue eyes in their lineup. I did not have the heart to modify this one at all, though. His face is just too adorable. So that is Sinclair. Next up, we have Skyler, the Australian Shepherd, who was just released this year, which is 2024 at the current time. And as you can see, she is more in a sitting position. I believe that they call her a 16-inch size, perhaps, but it's a little bit different, as she does have the appearance of looking much bigger than Sinclair because of that height difference. But she actually can lay very easily. She has a much larger head, as you can tell. She kind of is a little bit reminiscent even of like the oversized sitting floppy dogs like Amelia and Benjamin and the dogs from that line. She kind of has something that's certain quality to her that kind of is reminiscent of them. But there you go. You can kind of get a sense of the scale when you see them next to one another. So let me just kind of give you a side-by-side view as well, or maybe even an aerial view so you can kind of see. So they're almost the same actually lengthwise. It's just that Skyler is a little bit more posable because she does have those, well, I think she does have beans in her backside, which is what allows her to sit, whereas Sinclair is just in a laying position and really can't be manipulated in any other way. But obviously very different styles, very different colors, as you can see. Skyler has a lot more sort of pastel grays and whites in her. Well, I guess white isn't really pastel. White is just white, but you get my meaning. Whereas Sinclair has these nice sort of orangey accents on his legs and on his face and above his eyes. And his fur is sort of, well, you get these sort of, white patches, like this sort of little ruff around his chest. And this fur is more, probably not quite as soft as Skyler's, a little bit more textured, and it's sort of a darker gray at the root, and then it's got sort of a frosted look with the white tips. And he also has that little stub tail as well, whereas Skyler has the longer tail. So I guess like a docked tail is what you would call that. So that is Skyler and Sinclair. Next up, we have Maisie, the Australian Shepherd, and once again we're seeing definitely coat variations with all three of them. This one has a lot more black in her coat. She has these nice velvety black ears. She does have those sort of orangey brown legs like Sinclair does with the white paws, but she's got kind of like more of a marbled look to her coat, and she does have the longer tail as well, like Skyler over here does. She is a deluxe dog, but she is in that sort of classic deluxe laying position, which for a while, I think pretty much all Douglas Deluxe were in this sort of pose. Now they're sort of thinking outside the box and putting them in different poses. As you can see, Skyler is a deluxe, but now, she has the capability of sitting, whereas Maisie, just like Sinclair, is only capable of laying, but she's got that beautiful soft fabric, very, very lovely to touch. She does not really have any beans in her body, but I believe she does have them in her paws. Or, well, actually, maybe not, maybe a little bit. They're actually very hard to feel if they're there. They're definitely in the back paws, that's for certain. But she's absolutely floppy, much like Skyler. These are all, just sort of various levels of flop. I would say probably Skylar's maybe even the floppiest out of all of them. Like, her head is very wobbly as well. Whereas Maisie's is definitely a little bit more sturdy, a little more tightly attached, I suppose. And as for Sinclair's floppiness, he's pretty floppy too. So that is Maisie. And then lastly, we have the massive Breezy, who actually, I think we're kind of stretching the rules a little bit because she is an Australian Shepherd mix, I believe, but she really does kind of look almost like a pure Australian Shepherd. She has very, very similar facial markings to Sinclair, as you can see here. She is so big, I'm having a hard time getting her all on camera, but you can see they have that sort of asymmetrical white mark that kind of goes up diagonally, and she also has those little orangey accents above her eyes. But one of the cool things about Breezy is that she has heterochromia, so you can see she has the one brown eye on this side and the large blue eye on the right. She does have a plastic nose as well, which a lot of the earlier rescue pups did have, and I think maybe even still do have. They might just be kind of switching that up and giving them the faux leather noses. I do prefer faux leather in general, but they do use nice plastic noses at Douglas. They do have more of a realistic look. They have the little nostril detail. But there is her collar right there with her hang tag. And I would say Breezy is definitely in excess of 20 inches. She's very, very large. Really, really nice material, but she's not very floppy. She's definitely more of a sturdy build. Yeah, as you can see, like, their legs dangle, especially the back legs. But yeah, the body is definitely more bulky than the other ones, but she's a very, very unique dog, and I think she really looks great with the rest of the dogs in my collection. So let me just kind of roll back and try to get all these guys in one shot if I can. So there they are. So that is my collection of Douglas Cuddle Toys Australian Shepherds. Maisie's kind of looking downward there. Here we go. And now there we go. Let's get them all kind of set up so they look presentable on camera. So there is my collection of my Aussies. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you at the next video. Bye, everybody.